Now here's a fun one. This is the Masterpiece Society. Said Masterpiece Society is a group of people who try to embody the best that humanity has to offer. Do they actually do that? Yeah. No, not really. But that was the goal behind creating their civilization. Also, these are humans from Earth. So, all of this stuff looks like it was built by humans from Earth. The dome on the outside looks shockingly similar to real-world architecture because built by humans from Earth. And you see where this is going. Now, this is something that's noteworthy because this is not an ecological collapse story. No, this planet was never habitable outside domes. They chose the place so that people would leave them alone and they could be left in peace to have their own little society run by their rules for their reasons and so on and so forth. And then, there's a stellar core fragment that comes by and, kittens and puppies start playing together, and the birds make out with the bees and stuff like that. It's chaos, utter chaos, and their perfect society is, well, ruined forever. Rather literally, actually. But here's the thing. And that is the part about this episode that makes it such a compelling morality tale. Because this is one of those morality tale episodes that they did where they ask a moral question that has no right answer. That genuinely has things that are real world analogs and that are things that people in real life have actually discussed and do so in a way that's completely divorced from real world politics and so on and so forth, which made it pretty good. Thing is, asking your players this moral question, a lot of players would be like, yeah, question that. I don't care. Next. Because it is the kind of question where you have to really, really inside baseball it to actually consider it a moral question. And that's part of what makes it so controversial in real life, is that it's an inside baseball moral question. And only people who are inside baseball will get it. Now, to explain all that stuff I just said, because I said inside baseball so many times it has probably lost all meaning. Let's move on. So, like I mentioned, this is what the planet is supposed to look like, except without the dome. This is the inside. Again, because of the fact that this is Earth people doing Earth people things with Earth people technology, it looks very similar to a bunch of stuff in real life, and they don't even try to pretend they have alien plants, they just have interesting looking plants. And as far as I can tell, most of these are actually real plants. Maybe not all of them, but this looks like they actually found a real botanical garden that they could use as a shooting set and just had the actors stand next to real plants in a real botanical garden. And that is what the interior of the colony is like. Now, what is the problem? Well, the reason why the Enterprise is here is because the colony is in mortal peril. Again, they don't have any orbital infrastructure here. They put everything into their domed colony down here and literally have nothing else. Which, one could argue that it's a valid cost savings measure because spaceships are expensive. However, they literally have nothing. And when a stellar core fragment comes through the system and starts, doing what stellar core fragments do and mucking up the local gravitational constants, yeah, massive earthquake, so on and so forth. You see where this is going. If the Enterprise had not intervened, the colony would probably have died in a matter of months. But the fact that the Enterprise did intervene means that the colony suffered a socio-political collapse that it will probably never recover from. But they're not dead. Oh, I know. This is the part where you're like, yes, but where's the moral and ethical dilemma? And again, that's why this is inside baseball, is that functionally, from a certain perspective, Picard's actions resulted in the destruction of their society. From a big picture point of view, anyways. Why? Well, the Masterpiece Society was uh, solely internalized. It had no contact with the outside world. They went to Moab because they wanted to avoid contact with the outside anything. And then Picard's like, hey, we're here because you have a problem and we want to help fix your problem. That, in and of itself, disrupted their society. And Picard's offers of assistance and stuff, and it's like talking to the people on Moab, trying to figure out what would be a valid option. It's like, can they save the colony at all, and so on and so forth. And they do eventually come up with the idea of a way to divert the stellar core fragment's course just enough that the colony doesn't get physically demolished by the passing of the stellar core fragment. Thing is, the colonists, a lot of them decide they want out. And a grand total of 23 of them uh, end up getting evacuated from the colony, which, according to the guy who is the current colony leader, means their colony is doomed and will never recover. Now, another thing that says here is that while this was referred to as a genetically engineered society, they don't mean like augments. They mean like, weeding out genetic diseases so that they don't need to worry about silly things like sickle cell anemia or recessive lethal genes. No. They edited all of those out of their genome. So they don't have problems like inbreeding, because all of the genetic traits that cause problems with inbreeding have been edited out of their genome. This is not to say that they're actually doing the whole free love thing. No. To maintain their fragile social whatever, they're well, basically it's one of those things. It's like uh, unless someone dies unexpectedly, from birth to death, your life has a function in society, much like gears in a machine. All of the people in the society function like gears in a machine. And that is what makes it a masterpiece society. It is perfect, flawless. Everyone has a place in society. Everyone is loved, appreciated, and accepted. Or so the idea goes, anyways. Truth is, people don't actually enjoy it as much as the people who are in charge want you to think enjoy it. And it's actually a rather small society and kind of boring, apparently. And again, it's like a lot of the people who live there genuinely don't want to leave. That's the entire reason why they didn't just evacuate everyone. And why only 23 people left is because only 23 people wanted to leave, even after the place getting severely damaged by the stellar core fragment. The efforts of the Enterprise crew were only capable of uh, preventing the colony from being completely demolished. It still took damage, but something that was fixable. And again, like I said before, some of the colonists really would rather die than leave. And that's an attitude that the colony leaders were promoting. They wanted everyone to want to stay. They didn't want anyone to be interested in leaving. So the colony leaders had been telling everyone about just how good their society is and how blah, 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 why they should never leave. And a lot of them actually were on board with that. Thing is, how long has this colony been here? Yeah. Settled in the 22nd century. It's the 24th century. It's been well over 100 years, probably over 150 years. So all of the people who were original settlers are dead. The current crop of colonists are either, I guess only the oldest ones would even be children of the original colonists. It's mostly grandchildren and great-grandchildren at this point. And they don't really feel the same way as the colony founders do about the reason why the colony was created. And that's really, really caused problems for the current colony leader. Not everyone actually drank his Kool-Aid. So not everyone was actually doing what he wanted them to do. And ultimately, that was what made the Masterpiece Society work. Everyone in the society was fully on board with the grand vision for the society. And Picard's arrival to Moab shattered that. It damaged the social contract of the society in a way that would never be repaired because of the fact that a lot of these people had simply never been given a choice. They didn't have the ability to leave. So they were stuck there. They were literally forced to live there because they were born there and had no other options. Picard suddenly shows up and gives them an option, and then, despite the best efforts of the colony leaders to get people to be on board with the whole idea of our society is the bestest ever, not all of them actually were. And some of them were willing to walk away and never come back. And that is what I was getting at earlier. The Masterpiece Society, as it was before, is gone. There is a society there. This is something that has never been revisited in Star Trek. It's one of those things that's a high concept that genuinely gives you real pause and concern for thought, because internalized civilizations like this have been done in human history. There have been cases in human history where people did things like this. And much like in the episode, such things are fleeting, temporary, like soap bubbles. It forms, it does its thing until something outside causes it to collapse. And in this case, it was a stellar core fragment, causing the Enterprise to uh, offer to evacuate the colony. And of course, yeah, like Bates here decides she wants out so badly that she is willing to lie to people in public in order to get them to talk to her in private. Hmm. Connor, of course, is like, no, please don't go. Our society will never recover. And yeah, well, your society. See, and this is the argument that a lot of people will make with this, and the reason why a lot of people don't consider this to be a real moral decision, and something that a lot, again, and I said that the reason why this is considered a moral conundrum is only from an inside baseball point of view, and that is that the external force that caused Picard to have to show up, if left unattended, would destroy the society. So the society is going to get destroyed one way or another. The only question is how much of the society will be left afterwards. Will you have everyone dead in a burned out hulk of a colony? Or are you going to have, a drastically diminished population and a society that will not be in proper balance for decades to come? Well, it's a lesser of two evils scenario. There is no good option because there won't be a good option because life doesn't work like that sometimes. And that is the reason what I was saying is like from a moral dilemma perspective is like if the people who live in the colony would rather die than leave, so be it. However, you cannot uh, deny them the ability to leave, which is actually kind of sort of what the colony leader wanted to talk people into doing. He wanted to talk the various colonists into staying there, knowing that they're probably going to die. And then when they get to the end point and they find out that they're not actually going to die, a lot of the colonists are basically disgusted with the idea of the Masterpiece Society and decide they don't want to be there anymore. And that's the reason why the 23 people left in the end, is because the society, or the actual physical colony, wasn't badly damaged enough to be unlivable. It was relatively quick and easy to patch up. It's just that the social contract had been shattered and broken irreparably. And that fabric uh, that their society was made out of just couldn't be fixed. And 23 of the people leave because of the fact that they don't want to be part of it anymore. And the people that are left, well, they're going to have to figure out how to fix things. And as a idea for a TTRPG, revisiting this is actually something you could do. Looking at the Masterpiece Society and figuring out just what sort of social changes would have come down over the years. Because, one possibility is having them take a less isolationist standpoint. And, while, yes, their colony had many advantages to it, the disadvantages were blatantly obvious at this point. And thus, people would have reasons to want to try to make it better. And that was what created the ruined forever moment, is that the people in the colony no longer saw it as the best possible civilization. And looking at it in the aftermath, you have to check questions like, okay, so if that's how they felt at the end of the episode, what would they feel years later? How would their perspective in the universe have changed 10 years down the road? Yeah, that's a fun idea to ponder. And something you could have a lot of fun with if, the players have some other reason to come back to Moab for. And at that, I will bid you see you later.